and those sports don't involve hitting somebody, punching somebody in the head. And the ultimate way to win a boxing contest is to render your opponent senseless by repeated
that is
blows.
so naive.
That's a knockout. That's a knockout.
No, but that's not the aim.
That's concussion.
Fighters aren't taught.
I didn't
that.
interrupt you.
No,
Eddie.
well, I'll interrupt you.
Okay.
Fighters aren't taught that. They're not taught. When it's a sweet science. This is where you're naive about the sport of boxing. It's a skill. It's about defence. It's about outmaneuvering your opponent. You're not educated as a boxer, as a fighter, to go in and render your opponent anything.
But that's the ultimate victory in a boxing match. You knock somebody out. Please allow me to finish my point. Allow me to sentence.
Okay, but you've got to promise me. You've got to come and see these kids. Because they have no opportunity.
I grew up in those communities. My father wasn't a multi-millionaire. I came from a councillor state.
But you've never been through the doors.
I understand
you've never been
working
through the doors.
class people.
But have you been through the doors?
Ooh, what's good, family? Shout out to my doggy, Don Dougie, for boosting up your man the YB coin. So we just saw there your mans, Eddie, Silver Spoon, Hearns. Now, obviously, for copyright reasons, I can't play the full clip, but you can go onto youtube.com and go on the Good Morning Britain page, and essentially, Eddie Hearn got pulled up on by some next charity cat, some next bonce charity, yeah, 100%, some next bonce charity don. Basically, a man who runs a charity who looks after bonces. Yeah, if your bonce gets rattled, he's gonna be the guy who comes through and gets you the charity pattern. Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, this headway cat, this Bonceway, the man you saw in the video, yeah, he works for a charity called Bonceway. Yeah, formerly known as Headway. Now, Bonceway, a charity where if your Nelly gets mangled, that's who you're gonna go to. You're gonna go straight to the man, the charity Bonceway, and they're going to make sure your bonce is A1. He's going to give you the pattern, get you all the coins, make sure you're nice. That's what he can do. Obviously, since in the day, that man there, that Donny there, he spends all day looking at dodgy bonces. So guess what? He's sitting there thinking, he's seeing people come through, and this guy's Nelly's out of place, and this guy's bonce is all rattled, and he's seeing a certain man coming from boxing. So I get from his point of view, and often in life, life's about perspective. Yeah, very few people are like the YB who see things from a holistic view, who can step out of their own little crevice. Yeah, obviously Eddie Hearn, he love coin, and his coin comes from boxing, so he ain't never gonna see no other way, is he? He love coin. Yeah, no one ever gonna get in between Eddie and his coin. That said, same as the Bonceway cat. Yeah, the guy who works for Bonceway, his whole life's around fixing bonces. So, the same thing applies to him. He ain't never going to say, oh no. Now, the YB, he's sitting in the middle. He couldn't care less. And guess what? The arguments, Eddie got roasted, half got roasted. Because, obviously, Eddie's saying, no, boxing's great for the head and all this, that, the other. Listen, the truth is, I actually do agree with Eddie. It's massively overplayed. Now, I can understand if you're working in a charity or hospital environment, I get that. You can see the one-on-one destruction that head damage can cause. But listen, that's life. You can be driving a car. You can be jumping out of a plane. Now, I guess you can argue, I guess you can argue boxing's more direct, but still, anything you do can get your head rattled. Yeah? And these guys are being, especially at the top level, they're being more than compensated for it. And Eddie Hearn made me laugh. Eddie Hearn kind of exposed the things that's been going on with Anthony Johnston. Eddie Hearn goes, we don't even train them to get stuck in anymore. We don't even train them to hit people in the head anymore. I thought, damn, Eddie Hearn talking facts here. He's right though, isn't he? How many fights today do you see and think, wow, that was some serious damage there? Well, how many? Oops. Very rarely. Most fights today are touch butt. The risk of head damage in boxing has never been less. Because none of these guys get stuck in. Very few of these guys go there and put a session in. Look at Johnston. Anthony Johnston versus Usyk. Perfect example. Yeah? No damage there. Look at Tyson Fury versus Dillian White. Tyson Fury ain't take no damage. Dillian didn't do nothing the whole night. Do you understand? And this is the pinnacle of the sport, people. We're talking about the number 1 versus the number 3 guy in Fury versus White. We're talking the number 1 versus the number 2 guy in AJ versus Usyk. And there's not even a little damage. And it's in the Premier Weight division. So don't worry about head damage. That's what you... of all the things, and Eddie Hearn's right. In this day and age, listen, of all the things you might want to worry about, you don't need to worry about head damage in boxing in 2022. That's what you don't need to worry about. I'll tell you what you should be worrying about is getting these cats stuck in. That's what you want to do. Yeah, Mr. Bontsway. Don't worry. Of all the years, listen, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there might have been some concerns. Not these days. They're too soft anyway. The guys will, these days, yeah, people will roll over long before they get to the whole McLennan stage. They ain't going to get there. They're going to quit in the first or second round before that happens. Do you understand? Or they're going to pull a Bomelo and just stand there and just back up on the ropes and stand there looking funny style. That's what they're going to do. Very few people are going to push through today. So, don't worry about no heads getting rattled, for the most part. That's just God's honest truth. Now, of course, there'll be some freak ones that come out of nowhere, but that's how it goes, doesn't it? That's statistics for you. Someone's going to have a moody bounce, and they're going to get one of them ones. You understand? If you got a listen, if your head top's moody, your head top's moody. What can you do? Yeah, it's one of them ones. So, listen, F1 is dangerous. They're driving around corners at 200 miles an hour. I don't see no one petitioning to stop that one either. End of the day, it adds more good than it takes away. Yeah? Adds way more good. And the man out here campaigning, I mean, the guy's even saying, oh, we need to stop football as well. Let's stop football and rugby. Fucking hell. What are we going to do then? Just sit in the yard? It's mad. Eddie Hearn was right on that point. Kids today, it's hard enough to get them out the yard. At the best of times, all they want to do is be all in the iPad. So you want to cut boxing and football and rugby too? And like, the fact of the matter is, statistically, and Eddie Hearn did boom him. Eddie Hearn said, listen, you're saying it's super common. We're talking rare here. It's extremely rare to have serious damage. When you look at the numbers, that's just what it says. It's rare, simple as that. You can't. What are you supposed to do? Stop everything? What should we all do? Just sit in a house in a bubble? That's what the guy's implying. Oh, well, we should all be sitting in a house in a bubble and don't drive cars and don't do anything. Yeah? It adds much more than it takes away. Oh yeah, and the cat said, the guy from Bontsway, the guy from the charity said, it's bad because, basically, where this whole thing came from, Dominic Raab, who's a former amateur boxer himself, he works in the government, and he's basically put a few $1 million into some sort of grassroots boxing initiative. So the Bontsway cat comes out and says, oh, it's awful the government are promoting boxing. Inner city children shouldn't be told the only way to get put on is to be boxing, or whatever. Listen, currently the alternative is that you got a bunch of dirty chavdons running around thinking the only way to get put on is to be moving narcotics. So, I mean, anything's better than that, isn't it? I'd rather their bonces get rocked in boxing than be on the street causing mischief. That's just what it is. Yeah? That's just what... Anything constructive is better than something unconstructive. It's as simple as that. Yeah? Anything constructive... I mean, it's better than being there, getting their head rattled, than it is to be trying to struck someone up with a tool, isn't it? That's what I think, anyway. And that whole thing's a myth, and that whole thing's a myth. Oh, listen, very few people get to the top in boxing anyway. So don't worry about that. You'll be lucky. I mean, the way the man says it is as if it's a bad thing to get put on. Oh, people shouldn't think that boxing's the only way to get put on. Listen, you'd be lucky to get put on in anything. How about that? Be grateful if you do get put on. You understand? Yeah? And today I feel that the whole vibe of this interview, it was a bit cringy. It was that whole rainbow flag narrative going on. Oh, We need to be softer. Oh, I mean, boxing's already going down the toilet. Boxing's already super soft. Yeah, we've categorically got the softest generation of boxers. Facts. Never been softer. Never been more overpaid. Never been more useless. Never been more heartless. That's just what it is. And this guy's out here saying that, oh, it's too rough. You having a laugh? Yeah, please get rougher. That's God's honest truth. I've never been less worried about someone's head than in today's game. We know. Look at Billy Joe. Yeah, gets popped, takes a seat. Don't want no more after all the talking. So please don't worry about any of these guys. They get popped once and take a seat. Do you understand? This boxing's not the place you need to be worrying about people getting hurting. Because today they take a seat. Yeah, they find a way out. Or they just quit. Like Bumello did. Yeah? That's what they're going to do today. Very few are going to get in there and get stuck in. So don't worry about that. Please don't. There's much other things to worry about. Yeah? And the world's gone way too... I'm glad that... I'm not sure about Dominic Raab, but I'm glad that he's at least doing something to keep people... It's way too soft. Everyone's trying to be a nan these days. Oh, we can't... Oh... Everyone's just going way too much, and it makes me laugh as well, because... Guess what? I don't hear no one. I don't believe in wars, yeah? Full stop. There hasn't been no good wars in God knows how long. So on that basis, guess what we don't hear? We don't hear no one saying, oh, well, why we got a whole bunch of cannon fodder going into the army for 30 grand a year, 20 grand a year, whatever it is. Oops. Yeah? What about their heads? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we stop terrorising everywhere and whatever else? How about that? Oops. Yeah? That's what you want to worry about. About boxing. Why are we pumping 18-year-olds in to go and fight go and do a whole bunch of stuff that don't need to be done? How about that? Yeah? That's what the guys should focus on. Because there's a whole bunch of cannon fodder army dons right now. Yeah? So, that's where you should focus. Because they get no doubt shot and killed and whatever else. And that's unnecessary. How about that? At least boxers get paid. I mean, at the professional level, there's some journeymen making 60 grand a year. Just turning up and jumping on the floor. And God forbid, at the top level, you got Johnston. One of the most useless guys. Making 30 million bucks. So please don't... I did a video the other day talking about this. How boxing damage is so overhyped. Everyone's so hard. Oh, YB, the boxers take so much risk. And, oh, YB, we must suck them all off because it takes so much risk. And, oh, YB, oh. That's all we hear. Like I said, meanwhile, you've got 18-year-old dons getting flown over to God knows where and getting their shit pushed right the way in. Not even a little bit. Yeah? Simple as that. So I ain't got no sympathy for none of these boxers making 500 grand a pop. Yeah? I mean, you got Daniel Dubois now. I think he's alright as a person, but still. Daniel Dubois making 2 mil. Making 2 mil for what? I can't believe it. I swear down, if I was 6'6" and bulbous, I'd be going straight to the heavyweight division and knocking over some bums and cashing in. Do you know what I'm saying? Fucking hell. Dubois lost his only good fight and got stopped, and he's making 2 mil. Where are they doing that at? Where are they doing that at? I need to know. We must know. Damn.